farmers. Mountain back to Atlantic Ocean. Upon me hills to folk country. To educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah. Focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sier, and a pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome. We are here to talk about the nation Liberia. We will be talking about the Independence Day celebration. We will touch on the speech given by the orator, Dr. Brewer. He was chosen as the 179th Independence Day celebration orator. And he went very, very historical. We will take a look at it. And we will also look at the whole thing about independence. This year, independence, like many others in the past, people were celebrating in the diaspora, at home. We saw a lot of celebration as it happened last year. So some people are asking the question, what is it that we are celebrating? I have seen several questions, a few questions like that. What is it? That's the key question some people, critical people are asking. What is it that we are celebrating? So in this discussion, we will try to answer that question. And then also, while the celebration was going on today was chosen by the government as the official day for the July 26th celebration. While that was ongoing, we have other Liberian citizens protesting. The celebration actually was being held in Grand Bassa County in Buchanan. But then in Monrovia, we have, people protesting, mainly students led by the Student Unification Party. And as read some of their placards, they are protesting for jobs and justice. And some other people are asking, why are they doing this? Our Independence Day, and then there they are in the street, they're protesting. Some of them went to even the Monrovia Central Prison. They took their protest there. So all of these things will form a national and sober reflection about our country, how far we've come, where we are, and where do we go next. Well, my good friend Dennis is here to join me in this discussion. He's going to play a panelist, and we'll also have Brother Joseph Tao here. Dennis, welcome. How you doing? Unmute yourself there.
Thank you, Mr. C.A. and my friend Joseph Tao. I'm glad to be here to discuss Liberia's independence. My, my friend Dr. Brewer was picked as the Independence Day orator, and I really enjoy his speech, not because I know him personally, but because he kind of reflected what I think has been the issue, and so I like it very much. And you also talk about the different things that we're going to be talking about today. This whole idea of why should we celebrate independence, I have some answers.
I would like to hear the answers. Joe, welcome. It's good to have you. You heard, all we're going to cover today. How you doing?
I'm doing very good. Hi, Anthony, and hi, Dennis, and hi to our viewers and panelists. I mean, to our viewers. This is what I would say. I ask the same question that everybody's asking. What actually are we celebrating? Like, what is there to really be proud of? And it's something that we can delve into, because when other people gain independence, like let's just say the other African countries, no matter how superficial some of them might have been, because in my mind, Africa is still not independent yet. No African country, and we can see the result. But like when they say Liberia gained independence, who did they gain it from? Because one of the things is that we're never colonized. So if we gain independence, who did we gain it from? I want to believe when on 1847, it was a declaration of colonizing Liberia by people from outside, and we are. So in order for us to move forward, we have to actually gain another independence. And in that process, we have to deconstruct a lot of things and reorganize the society on every front, religion, economic, education, political, everything else.
Excellent. Well, folks in cyberspace, we cannot welcome you enough. We will have time for you to call if you wish to call. But the comment section is also there. You can continue to participate there. We'll highlight your comments as we go into the discussion. So the whole discussion borders on independence. All right. The date that Liberia gained statehood. And that is why we're going to discuss. So, and we cannot have the discussion without understanding, what is actually independence. When we say independence, what does it mean? And my good friend Joe here has already started a debate. So, Joe, I put it to you here. For you, when you hear the word independence, okay, what is it that comes to your mind? What's your understanding of what independence is?
Okay, independent in any way, it means you are under the control of somebody or some group whose ideals, values, or culture, tradition, everything was different. It's different from yours. And when you get independence, you actually overthrow that system and you reestablish who you were. And then you build on that for you to self-determine based on your own identity, both cultural, religious, or economic, political. So Liberia did not gain independence because what did we gain it from? Did we gain it from the Western style of doing things, or mindset, or the educational system? No, everything is still in place. So what do we really gain the independence from? So this is the deception, or this is the lie that have been told that we are all carrying. That is why we are struggling after so-called 179 years. I mean, 179 years. And what happened? We still struggling. We can't make any progress. You may just look at the corruption and the failure of these things are just that, but no. If the foundation on which you establish.
So Joe, we're trying to establish a definition. I don't want you to go far. We will have time to go in depth, right? So what I'm hearing from you is that Liberia as a country is not independent.
No, it's
because
not.
According to you, Liberia is being controlled not by its own culture and values and everything other than someone else. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Everything that was put there 179 years ago is still there. So then what did you gain independence from? Because independent means you overthrow that system and get it out of the way.
The last time I was in my village, I used the mortar to beat my rice. I went on the farm.
Oh, the exception to the rule is, I mean, an exception does not mean that the rule doesn't exist. Your central government, every aspect of function and the way in which you get uplifted in the society, to get rewarded and to get punished. Everything is not what the people in the village are doing. They're disempowered.
All right.
Completely.
Thank you, Joe. Joe,
Yes.
we got your definition. Dennis, this is a very important question. And as you can see, we have a debate here already.
Right.
Joe does not believe that the nation Liberia is an independent state. Do you agree or disagree, and why?
That is very sad, to say the least. Very, very sad. Because first, let's situate that. Let's put that in context.
Mhm.
Independence. Let's say you have your organization. In order for you to get federal money, let's say you have to have your LLC or 501c3, right?
Mhm.
So, and I'll make it that simple, right? So in order for you to have this registered organization, you must file something with the government to establish yourself as an entity, right?
Right.
That's not too far from being independent. So let's put it in context, right? We all did in school the scramble for Africa, where European powers went to Berlin and decided to divide the African continent, the countries among themselves. No African leader was invited. No African was there, and it divided. Right. That was I think 1880 something.
84, 85.
Right, 1884, 85. Right. That time, Liberia was not touched because Liberia was independent. Right. Before that time, Liberia was there. Our brothers and sisters came from the United States or from the Caribbean, all met there and say, well, we want to establish this as a home. They met people there, and all of them agree to do something and build a nation, right? But they couldn't even trade with anybody. Every time European powers go there, when they want to negotiate for their own land, they say, but who are you? In other words, you don't have any paper. So we have to declare independent. According to Brother Tao, independent means, people should colonize you and then you declare yourself free. But it doesn't have to be like that, right? You can still be a nation, but you don't get your paper yet. You don't put the laws in place to govern yourself. So nobody is recognizing you. So you have to declare. You have to file your papers and say, here, from today, I'm an independent country. I can establish my own rules. I can establish my own laws. We can trade with other countries. If you have not gotten that independence, you cannot trade with Great Britain. You can't discuss, you can't be anything. So let us understand independence from that perspective. You have to establish yourself just like you file your papers to be a 501c3 or to be a LLC or to be anything. That's how we will look at independence. And when I have the chance again, I will talk about why we should celebrate independence.
All right, yeah.
Sovereignty is not, you can be born today and say, oh, I'm a sovereign country. You have to go through a process. And the prerequisite of being independent is not colonization.
Thank you. All right. Dr. Pearson, independence. Do you see our nation Liberia as an independent state? Your good friend Joe disagree, and where do you stand?
Thank you, Anthony, and hi to Tao and hi to Mr. John. No, it's a pleasure being on the show tonight. I want to say hi to our viewers out there. So this is what I would say to that conversation. I think I align more with Dennis on this one. I think Tao's contention is centered around a word he called gain independence. All right, so I don't think Liberia gained independence. I think Liberia declared its independence, and there's a significant difference between the two. Those who gain independence are like South Africa, Ghana, the Ivory Coast, Guinea, and others. Liberia was never under any colonial rule to which it had to liberate itself and then gain its independence of them. Liberia rather declare its independence. But I think the definition of independence like Dennis alluded to, goes mainly towards legitimacy of the state, your ability to have some legal identification and some autonomy, and then it boils down to sovereignty. And that whole sovereignty thing, I know Tao very well. He loves history. You can look up the 1648 Treaty of Westphalia, all right, where the whole state sovereignty conversation started to come about in global arrangements, where lands and people who were in certain lands and have some close identity decided that no, we have more in common than in our differences. And looking at the political and global shift in how people are organizing themselves, can we agree now that we can begin to organize ourselves with some level of sovereignty? And from 1648 going onward, there's a timeline of how that concept developed with Enlightenment, Revolution, self-determination, popular self-determination. All of those things is in history, and I think Joseph knows that well. Or maybe he just don't want to refer to them. So I think we just had an opportunity where, like Dennis said, when colonialism started to hit Africa, Portuguese, the French, the British, and things started to take lands. We found ourselves comfortable at the time, but when they started to encroach on what area we had, and one way to defend ourselves was to declare ourselves independent rather, and then by that we can establish legitimacy and defend our borders as things were improving at the time or developing at the time. So yeah, I think that's a good foundation to have for this conversation going forward.
Thank you so very much. And I think Dr. Brewer, the orator for today, somehow participated in answering the question whether Liberia is an independent country. And one of the quotes he said here, one of the things he said, Liberia history did not begin in 1847 when the year it declared independence. He said, nor did it begin in 1822. And he went further. As I listened to him carefully, there was this place called Liberia that existed here way before the history Dennis cited here, when they went to Berlin and they tried to divide the continent of Africa, this piece for you, this piece for you. And Liberia was right there. And when they came encroaching now, we said, no, we got to tell the people that we are still here, we exist. Because in their eyes, in their minds, that is how they recognize nations. Some formal declaration. And I think that appears in, that's why I like the distinction, again and declare. All right, because we did not get it from anybody. We existed as a state, way before that. Joe, I see your hand up there.
Yeah. So I disagree with my five senses, as Dennis, a friend, will always say, with all my five senses. Because look at what happened here. Look at the thing that we seem to be missing, right? When you say colonial powers came in, what does that mean? To colonize. It means people with foreign language, culture, tradition, value systems, coming in minority too, coming into a place, laying claim to it, subjugating the people in that land. The American Colonization Society was established specifically for that.
No.
An act of Congress.
No, they were not established to colonize.
Yes. We went over here last night where Jerome pulled some of the extract from the archive, where when they went to go buy the small land, and when the chiefs refused, who was him? Elijah Caldwell, one of them.
Sorry to interrupt. One of the things of the ACS has, even going to Liberia was
this a colonization society is right there in the name. It was
but that does not mean to colonize.
Dennis.
A colony is a group. Okay, go ahead.
That's our land.
So let me speak, please. So where Elijah Caldwell, one of them, took the gun and put it to the head of the chief and said, "You are going to sell this land."
That's not true. That story is
I'm
not
going to,
true.
we're going to pull the X-ray again, and I'm going to speak to
That
Jimmy.
story has been
We're going to pull
debunked
it.
by
So
historians.
yeah, but look at what happened here. So that aspect of it. So you want to think that because the other people that came to Guinea, they were white, and the ones that came to Liberia, they were black skin. So it's colonization. What determined that is people coming into a land that don't have the same value, the same culture, the same language, and the same religion as you, and they come to occupy, and that's what happened. Then let's distinguish between the declare and the gain. No,
Joe, the people that came from the Americas, right? I thought they came to help establish a state. They knew that there was a place. They knew that the place was inhabited by people. So when they came, they decided to engage them. Isn't that what it is? So isn't that different from other places that were being
it's not that different. You should look at the when the missionary movement, when they had that meeting, the missionary movement came first. They engaged the same way, and they lived amongst the people, and then they spread out and they spread their religion and everything before the military followed. It was the same thing. When they came in, they wanted just a piece of land to live on. Then when they were forced to, when they got that land, they started expanding. And then what happened?
Your point, Joe, of colonization is that they brought a culture in your argument completely foreign to the people, the men on the ground culture.
Yeah, that's less than 1%.
They have to impose that culture on them, and that they have to live the way they live from where they came.
Yeah, that's it.
And for you, that is the colonization.
Yeah, where Barclay even told the Liberians that and it's written that if you want to be admitted into this place and to get job and to do this, you must convert to Christianity and leave your African culture and tradition. So it was a conquest force. Now let me just clarify it, because Clarence made a point. Declare and gain. There is not that much difference. The reason that the group in Liberia claimed to declare, remember that they said we had a good time, 1847. Where were the vast majority of the people? What was their role? The people who own the land, the people who made up about 94% of the population. They were never part of it. So it's few people. So they felt that they had the place. So they made a decision to because they had Liberia already colonized before the Europeans came. So when the European came, they were protecting their colony. So they declared at the expense of the rest of the people. So
all right, Joe, you made your point there.
There's not that much difference. That is why they declare instead of Guinea, because they already have colonized that place already.
So who they did that declare you're referring to?
The American Liberians. They already have colonized Congo, Liberia, the place called Liberia today. So when the other powers were coming, let me wrap up.
Let's explain American Colonization Society and American Liberia. Tell me, they're the same?
Yeah, that's the same. The Colonization Society was what brought them. They all one and the same.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
Yeah, please make your point. I have to get to Dennis. You made your point already.
Yeah, Thomas Buchanan, who was a Fred chair and all of this stuff that came in and to run the colony and to organize them. You, who there as a crewman, when the crew were resisted because the trade wanted to be taken over, what happened? When the so-called colonists went against them, the U.S. never came in and fought on their side to defeat the crews and the rebels.
All right. Thank you. I think Dennis Tao has a strong argument. Let me hear you.
No, it's not strong. He's confusing a whole lot of events and a whole lot of things.
Give us a clarity.
Right? Because why he's talking, he's putting all kinds of things together. They are not the same. What role did the ACA have in the independence? What role? Because first of all, you were saying the American Liberians, or the people that came, and the ACA, that's the same. No, they're not the same. Even long before that time, Paul Coffey came. The idea that free blacks in America will go and find their own place, that was not ACA's ideas. That was the idea of the Africans living in the United States, right? And that's why the first batch went to Sierra Leone. So ACA was not finding a place to go and conquer people. They just have, in fact, if you, I don't want to pretend to be a historian here, but if you look at it, is people wanted to get, there were some people that wanted to get rid of Africans living after slavery, especially after the revolt in Haiti. They say, these guys can be here. They would do the same thing. There were some Africans who even opposed that, no, this is our land, we did this, we work, we should be here. And some say we have to go and find a place where we can be free. And that is laid out in the Declaration of Independence. So and the struggle for independence did not even only come from American librarians or the people we refer to as settlers. Africans that they met there. Lacquera did not go with the ACA, he paid his own way. I mean, we should give credit to the people. Now, so the ACS and the Africans or the African Americans that went to Liberia, they're not the same. ACA was just an organization. I think that in money business, even they saw that what they even got in that. But this was not their idea. It was our people's idea. Two, you talk about the American librarian they did to the settlers. Well, when they came, the people they met on the soil were sovereign Africans. These people have their own kingdoms, they have their own governments, they have their own things, everything's set. So they were not looking for people to say, hey, come and free us. Come and, it was not like people came from America and they wanted to be part of, no. King Boporo and the people didn't want to be part of Liberia. The other people in the north. So the area that declared independence at that time was just the strip along the coast. And they were not independence or Liberia or this whole idea of this new republic was not a gift. They came and they established their own thing. And now they have to negotiate. Other Africans, like in the north, northwest, today Lofa, Nimba, Bong, those were big kingdoms that were being ruled by kings. Up to the time when independence was declared, those were solid. At that time, they were trading with all over the world. So they were not just sitting down like some village people. The whole idea of people coming and forcing land from us, that was debunked by Liberian historian Jason Carr. I interviewed him here. That story of putting gun to somebody's head, he said they tried to mimic something else. Because the people there, remember now, the whole of Cape Maserado and that whole place, Maserado, Duco area, these were the people there, they have seen Europeans long before. Remember 1462 when Petro descended? So all those years, thousands and thousands of years passed before the African Americans came. Those people were well established. They were some of them were educated up to master degree level. They were not just foolish people. And then they were also poorer men. The poorer society, these were people that could fight. Nobody could scare them with just a pistol and say, hey, give me your land. That's a fake story. Then you brought in about the cruel wars and all those things that all in the, I mean, that was long, maybe almost 100 years after independence. So you were putting all these things together. You putting different things together. The expansion of that little place that was declared, it had to expand. It came through negotiations, some conflicts and all kinds of things. Because nation building is not something small. It's not easy. I don't want to take over too much, but go ahead. So the idea that ACS established Liberia, no, that's not true. They facilitated that travel, moved back and forth. Africans themselves declared their independence because they knew what they wanted. Okay, and they didn't just come and occupy the entire what we know today as Liberia. It's not possible. They didn't have the capacity, they didn't have the knowledge of the place, they didn't have anything. They were not equipped.
Thank you, Dennis.
So they had to negotiate and it had to be gradual. In fact, when the other countries tried to encroach on the land, these countries, these are people in the north, the Lofa, today Lofa, Nimba, Bong, they were faced with the choice. Do we join the French or do we join Liberia? And they fought themselves, they fought to keep that place. You see Nimba all the way deep in there because the men fought. Even in the one we know today as the Gravo Crew War, over there, it was the same thing. Ivory Coast is coming. to take this land, it's Maryland and this part, right? So they had to either be part of the French or be part of Liberia. Which one you choose? So the people that chose to be part of the French, they are now today the people across the Kavala. We call it Duo Day, Day Beyond Duo. The people that chose to fight and be with Liberia, they stay on this side. Okay, when they wanted the cruise side, that was again through negotiation, because before the settlers, these people were already trading with Great Britain. That's why if you go in the southeast, you hear the government called car dollar is lorry, pound. If $4 is called pound, it comes from pound, because that was the British system on that side. So when you see people coming from America and say, "Hey, come and be part of us," they say, "What are you talking about? We are sovereign people. We've been trading. We've been governing ourselves. Why should we join, funny people like this?" So no, and any rational being would do that, right? Because I'm already myself. I'm making money. I'm trading. Why would I join a new? So it has to be through negotiation. But the choice where Liberia is today was based on the choice whether to join Great Britain, France, or to be with Liberia. And the people that chose Liberia, that's the people we have today.
Thank you, Dennis. Dr. Pearson, you also had your own disagreement with Brother Tao. His, expose that, we are not free yet, and that those that came, the blacks that came, who are coming home, and to join their fellow brothers and sisters that the men on the ground to establish a republic, he said, well, they were imposing the Western culture that they came with, and for him, that is colonization in certain instances. I don't know if you have a disagreement or not.
I think, quite frankly, I wouldn't refer to it as disagreement. I would take the same line that Dennis just took to say maybe it's just the mixing of the cultural timeline or the historical timeline, and when that happens, then it begins to throw the conversation off. All right, and then you reach the conclusions that you will reach as a result of that. So that's the reason why when we started off with the definition of independence, I had to clarify gaining independence as opposed to declaring the independence. And I had to take us back to 1648, when the world first started to discuss the Treaty of Westphalia, where we talk about state sovereignty. And then it developed over time. Then we start talking about nation state. Then American Revolution brought about the emphasis on self-determination. And we can look at that at another day. But without repeating all of the things, the good things that Dennis have said, I just want to throw light on the whole ACS stuff. There's a difference between the concept of colonization within the concept of the ACS, the American Colonization Society, and that of the concept of colonization within the European system. And I think because of the education FOL brings to our viewers, it is important that I lay that out clearly without repeating Dennis. So what we need to understand is that, like in 1816, when the ACS had the concept of American Colonization Society, their mindset of colonization was mainly separation. They were a group of people who believed that the early stage of the emancipation of the black guys in the free black slaves in America did not have a very good relationship in coexisting with the segregated white, right? So there's this mindset that, listen, we are well capable, we are able to go and find a place for of ourselves and govern ourselves and be successful at it, right? We will not deprive of the technical skills and know-how to run a country. We just need a space we can call it our own. And for some, like Dennis said, others have gone ahead and have tried to revisit the ancestral home, and they saw that there were opportunities there. So the formation of the ACS only came to buttress that concept of, you know what happened? Let's get the black people from other years because we want to mixing with our people here. So yeah, it had own shortfalls in America. It had its own dark intentions, but the intention was not to go and be an imperial exploitative imperial system in Africa. They were just looking for someone that they can go and settle and call a free land that they can live on. So with that in mind, let us not say because they need American colonization society, so they had that Western, or not Western, but the European imperial exploitation in mind. Now, with that said, then it goes by to what Dennis mentioned. And without repeating all the things Dennis said, we were right here. The guys in the southeast, the guys in the northern part of Liberia, they didn't want to be part of the early stage of the formation of what they call Liberia. But don't forget, when you start going to study about the frontier forces and other kind of thing, then you got to realize now when the grown men notice that you cannot fight the British alone, and the guys in Nima know that they can't fight. Now we call it Nimba, Grand G and other places, the Northern Liberia area, now we call it Northern Liberia. They couldn't withstand the British push against them. The guys from part of Lofa, Cape Mountain, noticed that couldn't withstand the French forces, and we're losing territories to these people. So they found it, like Dennis said, it was a consensus that we can join forces with these black guys that have kind of welcomed on their soil, who seem to have some level of superiority and leverage to confront these guys. And so they were able to build a commonwealth and then foster some form of expanding our commonwealth for their self-protection and to maintain their sovereignty, their lands. So would there be some bad moments in those arrangements? Of course. Would there be some chiefs who would not want to succumb their lands to the Commonwealth? Of course. Would there be some back and forth, some inner fighting? Of course. It happened all over the world. America itself had its own civil revolution where they had to fight to come to a common understanding for what is good for the nation. And then the North and the South had to come together and form the United States. Right, so I agree there will be some rough patches, but I don't think. This concept that we have that Liberia was colonized, I believe to an extent, but not in the same way that the European colonized the Sierra Leoneans, the Guineans, and the Ivorians. No, I don't believe that.
All right, Tao, I'll give you the final word on this, and then we will move to my next question. So do you still maintain that Liberia were colonized? Because you are saying culturally, you're trying to say culturally, culture was imposed on the people. But from what they are saying, say, well, that's the culture they knew, and so they came, that was their way of life. And so they both came together. What they knew, that what they had to come with. And so there was that rift, and we got settled, we accepted some, and they accepted the people. There was an acceptance. All right. And so it became a republic, but you are saying no, that's total colonization. So
see what happened here for us. If we don't lay the foundation right,
okay,
we never know where we went wrong. And we shouldn't try to belong so that we don't want to ruffle feathers. We have to discuss the hard truth. What is the difference between the British guy that came to Sierra Leone or to Nigeria, to Ghana, versus the American Liberians that came to Liberia? What was really the difference? When they say people are colonized, the culture, the language, the religion, everything is different.
So you separated ACS and American Liberia?
No, it's the same. You want to separate the two. It's the same. The organization that created a framework to get a people that share its culture, tradition, and values. You should go and read some of them. They were projecting an America in Africa. That is what. But no. Let me wrap this up. So
that is understandable. That what they knew, that what they came with, that was the contribution to the entire process.
Yeah. So that is what I'm saying. So that is colonization. Man, I can't come into your house, into your town. Me and my son, we bring our tradition, project it up, and you change you, and you say that we're colonizing you. Look,
all right.
Let me get wrap up this.
There is no way this is very important because
there is no way two divergent culture can coexist. They start the nonsense they call multiculturalism, Doesn't work. So one culture is going to dominate the other. And that is what happened in our case. As early as
If there was any dominance, it was just
No,
the
no, give
what?
example.
No. Look at what happened here. What Dennis they are leaving out. What is the Providence Island? The Africans that were there, yes, they had their kingdom, they were established, they didn't need to be independent, even on to that Cape Monserrato. So they were very suspicious of the outsiders. So they sold them a land that could not grow, which was Providence Island. That is where they were. They didn't talk to nobody. Yeah. That is where it started.
Gentlemen, we need to move.
Let me just close with this.
Please, start.
They started to expand out that place without the consent of the people. That is why December 1st, 1822, there was a battle between the Bassa, and the settler where Matilda Newport allegedly shot the candle and killed them because they were expanding out of that place to take over the land.
Not true.
Yes.
And that story was debunked. That is not a true story. Let us leave it there.
Mr. C, let's get this clarification, right?
Then you have enough time. You made a clarification. It's clear. We need to move on to something else.
There's one more thing I want to add, Mr. C, because the people, the ACS or the white people did not think blacks can govern themselves. That's why the trouble Liberia went through. Yeah. So when Liberia got an independence and said, hey, we are independent, we are free, those people didn't want anything to do with it because that's why Liberia is a test case. Yeah. They didn't want Liberia to succeed because if Liberia succeeds, it means that Africans are capable. They are not inferior as we think. So they fought tooth and nails. And that's what our people withstood. I just wanted to mention that because it was not in their interest that Liberia prosper and become a prosperous nation. That will be an example. That's why Nnamdi Azikiwe and all these people came to Liberia to learn how you guys did it, so we can learn.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Point well made. We got to make progress here. Gentlemen, I'm enjoying the discussion, by the way, but I just have to control it because I want us to get to a lot of things. We define independence. We look at the history. I see some agreement. I see a little bit of disagreement there. Now let's move to the celebration. We saw, and after the celebration, then we'll get to the orator's speech, and Dr. Clarence Pearson here has his own perspective on Dr. Brewer's speech. According to Dr. Clarence R. Pearson, he said, my opinion on the 179th oration by Dr. Brewer, academically elementary, intellectually informative, politically irrelevant. He will face my tribunal in this broadcast for that statement. He has to defend it, or else he will not see a wife today. But gentlemen, celebration took place in Liberia, in the diaspora. We saw Liberians, and then it knows when I'm here, I see politics in everything. And this is, first of all, let me pause the politics. The celebration that you saw, is it different from previous ones? Anything out of the ordinary? Do you have a sense that Liberians are beginning to say, you know what? Let us celebrate ourselves. Because maybe that glorious day, as written in that national anthem, that glorious day may never come. So if we continue to wait for that glorious day, we may never get to celebrate ourselves and our nation and who we are. So let us celebrate. But there's others that are saying, well, you know what? Maybe we have a much better and responsible government now. So people feel proud that they can celebrate. And other than that, many people were not too. But then if you go to the 80s, the 70s, there was a lot of celebration as well. Gentlemen, I want you to give me a historical perspective of the celebration you see today, compare and contrast with previous celebration. Give me your best. This is an analysis we're doing here. And let me start with you, Dennis. This is your thing, man.
First of all, Independence Day celebration, it's good we celebrate independence, not because we have arrived, because every country, nation building is a work in progress. And every generation or every group inherit a nation, they are confronted with new problems. Except Jacob Robert and the rest of the people, they were about establishing sovereignty, fighting over territory, right? That was their time. In the other group, that was economic, fires too, and all these people trying to take land, they're trying to strangle us through the economy. Another group, they say, well, we have to expand, soil for mayor. and all these things, the riots. They say we need, all of us are not benefiting from the national cake. There are people being excluded, so we need to fight.
Economic empowerment.
Right. Then another time came, they said, oh, this is dictatorial. We need freedom from all. Then we have freedom fighter, we have wars, first evasion, cool, trying to get it right. And none of those people, I interviewed Dr. Bro one time, he said, even during the war, nobody said, I'm going away from Liberia. Everybody was wrapping themselves with the flag, say, this is our country and we are here. Nobody said, oh no, I'm going to join Ivory Coast. So we celebrate because Liberia has a sovereign African republic. We celebrate to honor our national survival. We are still here. We celebrate because we want to strengthen our national identity. We celebrate because we want to preserve the historical memory. That's why we are celebrating. And then it's also a renewed civic responsibility. The celebration before and the celebration now, I see that Liberians are energized. Liberians love their country. What we lack is that historical perspective. And that's why we'll come to the speech. That's why I love what Dr. Brewer did. So as to situate us and say, here, this is who we are. We are not a bunch of people that knew nothing. Or we are not people that were waiting for African Americans to liberate us or to teach us English. The names we have, Long Peter, King Peter, those names existed long before the African Americans came. There are three abolitionists, or Noah, or Davis. All these were Africans like you, or Liberians, or Africans like you and me. So all these people fought and did their best to have what we are. So Liberians have been claiming their sovereignty and celebrating all along. What I see with this celebration, I see opportunity because I see numbers. When I see the celebration throughout the United States, for instance, in the diaspora, numbers. I talked to a financial expert today. I said, how can we turn the numbers here into money? Because if people can come together in this kind of number, long before we came to America, there was the Aye and Barrow game taking place in Trenton. Liberians have always been energized to celebrate their country, their culture, their history. The problem has been we have not been able to harness that and say, well, there's opportunity in this. What can we do? If 10,000 persons can come together in a building or in a space, we are able to generate 1 million from there and do something with it. I think that's the place we have now reached. How can we turn the enthusiasm? How can we turn the celebration? How can we turn the numbers into something meaningful, into something that can benefit us, into something that can generate economic power and strength? Because Ulimonga.
Yeah, so then I like the way you put it, right? And as you were speaking, what also came out of me is, how do we use this to unite, to minimize the device, and to develop self-love for ourselves and our brothers and sisters. I was at the celebration yesterday in Brooklyn Park, North Hennepin County College. It was epic. I saw people. I did not see a single Liberian without the national colors. I saw nearly every responsible Liberian there with the national colors. I saw our sister prepare the best of the best Liberian dishes. Kala, roasted meat, fish, you name it. And I saw our clothes too. And we were eating, we were dancing, people were shaking hands, and people were making money. You talk about the money. People were making money. And we identify, and I saw other nationals. There was traffic around the place. They were in their car. They're like, what's going on here? What's going on here? We put out a statement. We are proud people. We know who we are. And we don't get a damn about what you think. We are doing this thing here. This is who we are. We occupy that central aspect of Brooklyn Park. Yesterday, we did that. We sent out a message. One of our sisters who works in the healthcare center told me most of my workmates, they call out. It's killed at some workplaces. And I think I like that. And we did not make the statement that it is about our country. This is our day. Let that word wait. Let's identify, who we are. Let's show who we are. And Liberians did that, not only in Minnesota, but in other places. And I think that is nationalism and that is patriotism. But Dr. Pearson, we are doing analysis here. How did you see this whole, or how do you see this whole celebration?
So I will assume you're not talking about the speech yet, right?
No, we're not to the speech yet. We'll get to it. That's the climax. And don't forget, I'll come to the politics.
Yeah, Dennis Woodman guy in Grand Bassa County, and we was on that bill there, we call it money be man. Just in case you don't understand what it means, Bassa. It means money be man in Grand Bassa County, in the Bassa. Now, but you see, I agree with Dennis on a couple of things there. And I feel that I'm not one of those who, and I will repeat myself religiously, because as a neo-progressive, we're trying to reshape how we think for a lot of our people, right? If we don't repeat ourselves, the concept will not stick. Look, I refuse to get stuck in history. History will educate me as to where I'm headed, where I'm coming from, where I'm headed. But I refuse to get stuck in history where I get better with history. I get better at what happened in history. And then I feel I'm still trying to remove myself from that history when I'm in the now, that I should be making the now better for the tomorrow that is about to come. Because if I don't start looking at what is around me now and project it to the future and keep looking back, I'm not going to move forward. So guess what I would say? Look, there are a lot of things that happen in our history. Like Dennis said, it is a progressive a movement of the Liberian people. It's a process of change and development. I think the orator mentioned that today. And the every spot within there are some shines, there are some darkness there. We look back, we learn from it, and then we move on. We build on what we have now. So I would say this: if you ask me, if what I see happening today in the celebration of July 26th is the same as I saw in the 70s and in the 80s, I would say not the same. I would say the 70s and 80s was sweeter than they won. Let me tell you for Anthony. When 26th day came back in the day in Liberia, right? It was a whole lockdown. You think you're seeing crowd now? I believe the crowd, the people now are more divided in July 26th than ever before in our country. Back in my days when I was picking, when my old man used to carry us to go shopping for our 26th day, we're not talking about any president, we're not talking about any representative, we're not talking about any party. The only thing we're talking about is my Christmas clothes and how to dress and move from one home to one home, one door to one door. If you get my 26th and I move on. Today, you
used to get your Scooby those days?
Yes, yeah. Even if that Puma said no problem, even that Puma with a grape on it, no problem. We play the tennis ball on the
Barman booze.
Yeah, Barman booze. So the point here, what I'm making here is that if today you saw the celebration of our Independence Day, one group is in Bassa, one group is in Monrovia, and everybody declaring that that group is the one that's celebrating where and here and there. There is not a sense of a unified nation. And I think that's why we're missing it. Now, when it comes to the economic side of it, I don't want to repeat Dennis. There are opportunities there, right? When it comes to can we do it better in the future? Yes, we can do it better in the future. How can we do it better in the future? We need to depoliticize Independence Day celebration. There should be no unity party because you are ruling government. So the unity party celebration now is pivoted towards only unity parties in the hall. And top brands of government in the hall. There's not an equal leverage and playing field of all Liberians, whether it is ANC, CMC, or LDBD, or kind of LPP. Everybody must be unified. And I did not see that today. And what I'm seeing across Facebook from our leaders is the demonstration who cry is the best cry on July 26th past to other government that was in power. And I think it's wrong. So yeah, I enjoy my own on July 26th back in the day. I don't enjoy it now because it's very divided.
I like your analysis and the political aspect you ended with that. Well, maybe, this is a much better government than why you see more crowd, than you saw before. And I mean, as I watched the whole thing,
One
I
second.
was,
Honorable, get me 30 seconds. You think you
okay.
see more crowd now? I don't think so. The
Okay.
difference between this crowd and our crowd back in the day, our crowd did not gather in one space to make a political show. Our crowd, we were all in the community. You remember, Dennis? We were all in the neighborhood. Everybody was outside. All the small children were outside.
A lot has changed, Mr. Dr. Pearson. That was pre-war.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying
A
we
lot of
shouldn't get
factors
stuck.
are responsible, but I don't want us to go.
You were saying we shouldn't get stuck in history. Let's make progress. So we're
we
making
can
progress.
bring history backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say the political line you ended with, right? Because I was designated to stream the entire celebration program today. And I did that. So I watched from start to end, right on my computer and reporting. And as I watched the crowd, I did not remember seeing any of our major opposition leaders in that hall. All the faces I saw were either government officials or those who are supporting the government. And I will not hesitate to say that was terrible for our country. It means that our leaders are not showing us how to reconcile and unite, even on our collective Independence Day. So the question I ask, is it that they were not invited? When I said they, the opposition leaders, were they not invited? Or were they invited and they chose not to come? I think I'm going to investigate that to find out. If at all they were not invited at all, then this is a terrible mistake on the part of the Unity Party government. And if it were any other government, I would say the same thing. And I believe it was similar during the weird time. These leaders need to do better. Brother Tao, we're talking celebration. Before now, your analysis.
Okay. So this is what I would say. Celebration with what in mind? Because people just follow the crowd. Generally, that's how human being is. If something just said, everybody just get there. Man, we are in the US here. We work, we celebrate baby shower and apartment warming party. It's a big whole thing. So come to Philadelphia and all those places back then. So I'm not going to base it so much that somehow it leads to some kind of unity in some sense. People are just trying to get out there, and they have to do that because after a long week and you have to go somewhere in distress. So this is not the first time we celebrated, like Dr. Pearson said earlier. There have been bigger crowds, but have that actually led to actual progress that led towards self-determination? Because that is what the independent days are for. You are growing. Are you actually growing? Are you developing every aspect of your life? Because this is a nation is like an individual. Are you putting so that is the spectrum from which I look at it, and it's always no. And when you look at as a kid growing up also in the mid to late 70s and into the 80s, this is what happened here. Like a person, the reason you didn't see the political aspect is because you didn't have electoral politics that was based on multi-party democracy. So they didn't have no politician to talk about. The division was actually narrow. That we wanted to be free. We wanted to also participate. But then when multi-party democracy came, this is my problem that I have with it. Everybody that is in power want to behave that the country actually belongs to them and them alone. Like Joe Howard said, that it's our time to chop. Then the people that are not in power, they want to make sure that the other government fail so that they can say, you see, now you can elect us. And so that is why you are seeing, and it's going to be like this and in many areas. Is it possible that they invited those guys? And I want to believe, I don't know, but I want to believe that even if they invited them, most of them will actually stay away because they're not going to go to something that will make UP look good if something good come out of it, so that they can have a point to campaign on or speak again. And this is the kind of childish stuff that we are caught up into. So for me, when I'm looking at the Independence Day, I'm glad that you brought that up. Those are the areas from which I'm looking at it.
Thank you.
And if you look at it, we are actually going backward because there is no look. It's just like the drug issue. We have to be able to put party politics aside for national issues on a lot of levels. We should have the space and the time for us to be able to do the party politics, and we should have the space and time for us to come together for national issues. But
all right,
that is missed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Tao. Brother Tao, one more thing, and then we'll get to the speech, right? And then it's, I've been around you, so I know how to do my little best, right? Organization, execution. Because when you planning a national event, you are trying to show yourself to the world. You're trying to show yourself to your children, to your youth, to your future leaders. And what you put out there matters a lot. I watched the program, but I'm the one doing the interview and you are doing the analysis. Maybe I chip in here and there. But did you see a well-structured and executed program that really project that, yes, this is something worthy of, this nation, Liberia, the program will be fitting. This was organized by responsible leaders. And how will you grade that the entire program as you watch? Let me start with you, Dr. Pearson. You watch the program.
So now that this is where I was waiting for. But before I just get it, look, Tao.
Yes.
In the 70s, in the 80s, FAL and Moja were active political pressure in Liberia. Active political pressure in Liberia in the 70s, in the 80s, right? So if there were anything to start showing division between the native people and the Congo people, that would have been the period to start it. But we didn't see that. As small as I was, the politics was different from the national days. To be very frank, I will say that for a fact. Now let me go into Anthony. What I saw today, and now this is where I 100% align with Joe on this one. 100% align with Joe. When I think about our national independence celebration in this day and age, I'm not looking to hear speeches like I heard today. I'm not looking to see some people sitting there and hearing choir sing, all the kind of stuff. I'm looking to see unveiling a major leap into the technological advancement of our country, into the national development strategy. That should be the time we should showcase the leap that we've made in the development of our nation for at least 100 going to 200 years now. 100 are not going to 200 years now. Vehemently, we say on the palabra hot, vehemently detest. Yeah, detest. People sitting down for 2 hours to talk rubbish, sit down, eat, and have fanfare, and leave from there without no critical display of something genuine that we have achieved as a country to show forth. No. I believe without, then we should cancel the celebration. We should cancel the celebration. And I'm not saying we shouldn't celebrate as citizens. We can, like the young people did on Complex this today. The young people went on Complex. They showcased their talents. They demonstrated their skills, their talent. They promoted young Liberians who got talents. That's what I want to see. They showcased their strength, right? The Cameroon government official then want for to go play a soccer game, whole stadium empty. Minister don't know what the big got them running the football field. Nobody there to even see them play. The whole stadium empty. They say they celebrate Independence Day. Who going to celebrate Independence Day in the club? People's daughters? People's sons? No. What I want to see going forward, Anthony, if that is possible, set major benchmark for achievement in our national budget. And I said, this is why we want to see Liberia move in this national budget. On this Independence Day, let the country tell us how far we've moved the needle in moving Liberia to the 21st century. And let us celebrate that. Let us celebrate that. I'll stop there for now.
That appears, I'm glad that you were waiting for the question, and I'm sure you knew I was going to bring it, because this is the fundamental aspect of it. And as I watched, I saw a little girl, I believe should be either 8, 9, maybe 10, who read. She reads better than me. And I was proud as a father when I saw that. So I said, so the children are not a problem, man. And I'm curious, what school is she in? I want to know the entire circumstances around that child, the parents. I mean, it was a proud moment for me to see her. She was not intimidated. As she read, she interacted with the crowd, with her motions. When it came for us to address the president, she turned around like that with a microphone. A Liberian child did that. And I'm like, wow. So there is something in this republic, and leadership has been the problem. That's what I saw. But you are the one doing the analysis the more. Carl, you heard Dr. Pearson. He talked about leaders at the football field with their pot belly in red and blue playing football, the whole place empty. All right? And he saw kids or young people showing talents. And he's bored about the speeches. He saw the hall with diplomats. And I'm not saying the government is not doing anything, but he's saying he wanted to see projects being displayed, achievement being listed. He wanted to see all of that. What do you make of the organization? The execution of the whole program, going to bazaar and all the fanfare, maybe full hotel being rented and all that. Was all that necessary?
They're wasting, pretty much, I shouldn't say waste, because nobody found they're stealing taxpayers' money, funneling it like they launder it. That is what I would say. Because John McAfee, he looked, and Tanzania was in a tough place when he came to power. And he looked and he went and he found out what the budget was going to be to celebrate Independence Day. He canceled it. When I mean cancel it, he didn't tell the people like Dr. Pearson said that, no, the regular citizen, everybody you celebrate, but the government is not going to launch all these extravagant programs. He channeled that money into development projects and into other areas in the economy to be able to, because the government was not willing to go out there to go borrow money. But we are going to go ahead, they're going to go ahead and steal all that money, then they go and then ask for money. So when you this is why I say here, when you are getting older, when you show up at your father or your mom, and they ask you, you're about to be 15 years old, what do you want to do in life? What have you done and what do you have in mind, right? Mm-hmm. So it's supposed to be a moment of critique and to reflect. And then based on that, it's like the time you are giving a grade sheet report before the nation, and then to say, this is what we have done, this is what we are, these are the reforms that we intend on carrying on, or that will carry out, this is where we are, and for our 180th birthday, these are the things that we intend on achieving. Also, it's supposed to be that it's not just about eating and drinking, and that is all that they do. And that is why, for me, it doesn't matter what kind of crowd that show up, because the people, generally, all of us, we can show up. There is nothing wrong with that. I'm in Houston, the celebration went on all over the place yesterday. But the government that is going to be leading, the guys have no vision. They have no vision. I keep saying it here. They have no sense of direction generally, not just the government, just government throughout, really. If they have some, it's not even defined, it is not entrenched, it is not internalizing in a way that actually have a means that they can actually implement it with you real result. So that is why you are seeing here. So they wasted money over there, and it's not necessary. And with Dr. Pearson, the government shouldn't even get involved to cancel it. The president should probably give a little bit of speech. Why are we even doing this stuff that somebody have to come and speak? Speak for what? Really? that they have a whole ceremony. So it's not necessary, because we've been doing this for all these years. What are we getting out of it? We need to, if we don't have no celebration and they tell us, they give us plans and achievements and then projection that are being achieved, we don't even care. We ourselves will be celebrating the Independence Day wherever we are.
All right, thank you. Dennis, you heard Brother Tao there, and while this program was planned, and we have been doing this as a republic for this long, and Tao is saying, what have we gained out of this thing? And I asked the question, if we don't do this celebration, official government celebration plan, sometimes the budget can be pretty close to 500,000. While the school in Dodwe does not have a chair, right? And then bulk of the money is on food and places for people to sleep and gasoline and all that. But there's a school in Sasta that is virtually empty. But this is important. So my question to you is, we saw the young people protesting. They said, look, we need job. We need justice. We don't have job to survive. And you are having this kind of elaborate program, is spending money. Why are you not spending money to create job for us? So I want you compare and contrast and look at it from the leadership perspective. Is this thing worth doing over and over? Do we have to celebrate once in a while? Is it okay or not?
Right. And that's what makes running the country, a bit challenging, right? Because there are certain things you have to do. It's almost like you're in your office. Sometimes you just have to throw a party, right? Not that you're getting anything from the party, but like a retreat for people to rejuvenate and tell the people, hey, I care, let's have some fun. Because all work without play makes Jack dull boy, right? The problem with us is government fill our lives. Everything is government. And maybe we can have a separate show on that to see where the problem coming from. Is it the citizens or is it government that is making government to dominate our lives?
So much.
Even if you and your significant other have issue, you want government supposed to solve it, right? So it's all government. If the celebration is something like I gave the example of your office, the celebration is if it is about the people. But everything now is government. And let me, I agree to a large extent to what my colleagues said. The problem here is most of the things we do in Liberia are not outcome driven. What is the purpose of this? If we do this, what is it that we are trying to accomplish? Because if you spell out what you're trying to accomplish by doing this and sell it to us, we are able to grade you at the end of that program to say, okay, these are the things that you set out to do. That's what we all do at our various jobs. But I don't know why when it comes to government, we forget. All right. What is it that we are trying to accomplish by the celebration of our National Independence Day? If it is for fanfare or to showcase, who can wear the best or national colors, then but we don't even know, right? Because our leaders are not communicating with us what's the purpose. And we just join it. Even here in America, all throughout the diaspora, right? We go to these events. It took, before I came to America, and even when I came, I saw at least 2 or 3 Independence Day celebration at Trenton, where everybody is going to Trenton and they play the Aye and Barrow. It took people years to realize that, wait a minute, what is it that we're doing? What are we getting from this? And they realized that just few people were eating the money. Because when we go to these things, like what took place in Minnesota, maybe it was the largest, right? Will anybody ever give the report of not just money, but what went on and how this thing, we're never going to hear that, right? So why is it that we are going to Minnesota and these different places to celebrate? What is it that we are trying to accomplish? If we know what we're trying to accomplish, then we say, okay, it's almost like I told one pastor and Dr. Pearson, most people set up churches without even finding out what you're trying to accomplish. Because if your goal of setting up a church is to bring people to Christ, then you say, okay, Without setting up a church, are there other ways I can bring people to Christ? If you list 3 ways and say, okay, let me find the most cost-effective way. What is it that we're trying to accomplish by the celebration of July 26th? The one that took place in Buchanan, it lasted from, I think, for 1 week, right? So I pray thee tell me, what is it that you are trying to accomplish within 1 week being in Buchanan? Does anybody know? I doubt it. 2, everything is government centered. If you want to have a national celebration, why is it that is the government that's supposed to lead it and do everything and be the newscaster, the actors in their own play? What if we have a national celebration that involves everybody? Instead of having government officials, you describe them as pot belly. I don't want to say that. What if we have Batman and St. Joseph Warrior play to commemorate the day? What if we have other activities going on besides everything centered around government? Our problem has been government. It's all government, government, government. If we trying to standardize all our national days, all the holidays, like if you watch the State of the Union here in the United States, and I watched one where President Bush used the Kimbe Mutombo. They will always take somebody, either a family or somebody, and use that and connect the story. So when President Bush, the second Bush, tried to showcase American exceptionalism, that if you come to America, you can achieve. He said Mutombo is building a hospital in his home. So he connected the story of Mutombo to what America stands for. For us, we don't see any of that. What is it that we're trying to accomplish as Liberians? Who are we, and what is an example among us that we can showcase on our national day to say, even it could be something like togetherness, reconciliation, and then you take, and I'm using the wartime example, maybe you take 2 warring people that were at loggerheads and say, see, if people work together, what they can produce. Let's put something around, national unity, national symbol, working together, something. But instead, it's all about government. So anytime you call July 26th, it's a government going to showcase something. We saw President Bouaka went ahead. He was dedicating places. He was doing all kinds of things, which you could clearly see that's campaign. So if you see somebody, and I hate to call them opposition, right? Because it's only in Africa or other, you don't hear about opposition in America, or they will say Republican Party, but when it comes to what they call opposition, right? Everything is about promoting an agenda, is running campaign. So everybody stays away and want the other guy to fall, because we are not building anything around bringing people together for a national cause.
So then let's close on there. I want a quick answer and go to Tower. How do we depoliticize the whole thing about July 26th celebration from the government end? From the
not
government
just July 26th. Right now, even if you're an expert in flying planes, you can't fly plane in Liberia until you join a political party. You become extremely partisan. Nobody looks at it. So it's a deeper question that I have no answer, right? Because everything is so partisan.
No, Dennis, you have to give me an answer. My question is simple. How do we depoliticize something as important to us as collective to us as our national independence celebration? Because when the party is in power, the party controls it, and the other people just fold their hands and watch. How do we take that politics out of this collective celebration?
And that's what I'm saying, right? If you look, the next person coming to power is the same thing. We continue to elect people who cannot govern. We continue to elect people who we know we only get behind people because they have money or they part of, whether they know it or not. We continue to have square pegs in round holes. And there is, if you even look down the road, it's like the same thing is going to happen for a long time. That's why I say, and as long as things are extremely partisan, as long as we are getting people who are not competent, or even if you are competent, you can't get anything unless you be politically extreme. So as for now, a lot of things not going to work until the governor's problem is solved.
Thank you. Brother Tao, how
Yeah.
do we depoliticize these celebration, these national events? In fact, minimize the politics about governance. I mean, there's time for politics, there's time for campaign, but when it comes to governance, how do we depoliticize, governance in Liberia, leadership in Liberia, so much so that it's inclusive, much more, other than the words?
I proposed this many times for almost 2 years on this show, and everywhere else I have chance. And like about almost 30 years ago, I've been proposing the same thing. And before I come directly to that question, because very good, there's two things that I see in Liberia. But like Dr. Pearson said here, that the power and these guys, they were very active, right, during the 70s and the 80s. But what was the difference? The difference is that there was the TWP and there were the progressive group in all of the different forms. The TWP intention was to hang on to power. The progressives were to let people be included. Two, it doesn't matter whether there were 10 of them. So the division and the polarization was less. Because even there were some Congo people that even were with the progressive in some form, right? Some of them were even, and some of them were sympathetic, and they saw that, yeah, like Dr. Pearson, they come up people that were sympathetic, you see. But look, there are two things. You cannot bring up people together if they don't have identity, if they don't know who they are. Because if you know who you are, that is the thing you want to defend. That is the thing you want to fight for. So no national identity. The national identity can only come through cultural unity. Your culture. The next one is we have to find a way to diminish or reduce the influence of party of polarized politics, like what we call multi-party. You know that if you look in the whole world, you know that it's only in Africa that that term applies, right? It's only in Africa. It creates polarization. So what you see happening, as long as we have that, then it's easier for you to bring two people together that have two different interests and you can talk to them, for you to bring 50 people together with 50 different interests.
I disagree with all my 5 senses.
I know. Yeah. I was 6 one day. The 6th one is God, I just said. No, but so that is the difficulty that we are having, Anthony. It's going to be difficult. Like Dennis said here earlier, the next guy coming there, he's not going to be any different because, okay, so he should fail so that the other guys can take him out, or the other guys should go work with him so that he succeeds, so that he can wait for 12 years. And probably maybe more, because then their party did so well that they will win again after 12 years. That's where we find ourselves. So we have to find a way to work on that. I don't know how we enter all these parties. We need to reduce these parties. Everybody cannot be a leader in the country.
So things were better because I already taught my.
No, I'm not saying things were better. It's not whether it was better, but you see, there was stability. There was a lot of stability. I'm not saying whether it was better, but what will you want? In a bad situation with so much division, or in a bad situation where there is unity? So I'm just saying, so that is where we are. Bad situation with so much division. You can't even do anything. The Bwaka plant a lipo, CDC people will criticize it that, oh, the other lipo is shorter than the one that Georgia planted. When Georgia planted, the other person will say, oh, it's leaning to the left. It's supposed to be straight. So it's all of this stuff. That is what I mean.
So that's Mr. Tao. So let's assume that today we have only Unity Party and CDC. You think the place will not be polarized?
Oh no, it is not that it will not be polarized, but the polarization will reduce. Then why you have listen now. Then what you have here is that it's easier to deal with it. Then we start to restructure what is CDC and this guy. The problem that we're having, the polarization as one, and you mentioned something, the leadership, right? What is happening to the leadership issue? Dennis, we have no orientation that is African-centered. And African-centered orientation, the American, they have European-centered orientation. The Chinese have a Chinese orientation. The Arabs is lacking, generally in Africa and in Liberia in particular. So what are we centering around? All the parties, what is actually the real aim? What is the actual policy with respect to pushing Liberia in the direction of self-determination? Most of them really don't have it, if not even all. So everybody, so then party is used to only come to power and make money. And that's it. You are muted. You are muted, Anthony.
All right, thank you. Dr. Pearson, let's get to the speech. There are other things I wanted to go to, but let's get to the speech.
I didn't speak to the unity part. The unity part.
All right, okay. Let me give you a meaning. How do we depoliticize, something as collective as our National Independence Day? Because when I saw the pictures were so bad, it was all government supporters and their friends they invited, mainly from, in Liberia, they can say our partners.
Okay, so I think we've started building a platform already that could help, right?
Mm-hmm.
The decentralization strategy that we are launching out now could be a good platform. So take away this whole concept of promoting a single political party that is in power and allow the counties to have their own programs to acknowledge the independence of our country and to have their own activities at the county level. And the president gave a big speech that we call maybe address to the nation, in my view. Another thing I would say here is that
they have a wrong campaign.
Exactly. But Tao mentioned something. He said people want to, do it like it is our project. We're trying to show that they carry the yellow machine behind. Oh God, carry yellow machine behind behind. Whether they were carrying some of the drug hiding the machine to take it from wherever so they can bust it, we know it. But they carry yellow machine. But here's what I would say, right? Imagine if Liberia and our government initiated through the decentralization project in the national budget, county level development project with direct inputs at the county level with public-private partnership where Liberians who have the means to invest can invest in county level project identified by the government and published that we can all bid for. I bring in a portion of the capital, government bringing a portion of the capital to incentivize my investment because we are building from scratch. Imagine if we have that happening across the 15 counties, trying to develop our 15 counties. I know Dennis here has a very strong interest in Sino. I know I have a strong interest in Maryland County. And Tao may have a strong interest in other areas. A lot of Liberians have strong interest in other areas. In fact, we have county level associations in the diaspora that are willing to help the county, but they don't have sufficient capital. So if the government identify these major projects that are earmarked across the 15 counties, public-private venture, government provides some of the capital, Liberian diaspora and Liberian investors in Liberia provide some of the capital, we get involved in those projects. On Independence Day, we showcase those projects, we promote those projects, we celebrate around that achievement. At the end of the day, we won't be talking about parties.
Another Pearson, when you say government, you're talking about a local government then?
Yeah, where they got a local government at?
Yeah, I mean, you said that the government should identify projects and then people from those areas will go. Are you talking about a local government?
Yes. Yeah, look at the local government level. But take for instance, right? Because government coordinate a majority of these things, whether we like it or not. But you can still have the people involved. So say, for instance, in agriculture, maybe there's a major agriculture project to make Liberia rice sufficient, right? And we identify through studies that rice grow best in these counties, right? And there's an investment plan through the Investment Commission, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, and Central Bank, everybody coordinating around that, Ministry of Agriculture, everybody coordinating around that. And those hubs of that investment portfolio is sold to Liberians in the diaspora in Liberia who got the means, and we all buy into that as a public-private venture. What I'm saying is that there will be, we will have that in the electricity project, in the, maybe it will be solar energy, it could be hydro investment, whatever it's going to be. It could be road, not the major construction of roads, but other feeder roads that is easy to do in smaller venture. But if those projects are identified, so we all bought into them, and we are celebrating around this progress, Independence Day, to showcase what the different counties are achieving. Look, it becomes a better competition as compared to political competition. But Dennis just cut to the chase. He said, then how would they run the campaign? But are we particular about campaign now, or particular about the moving of our country forward? Because to cut to the chase, I would say, yeah, my brother, since we killed the Congo people, the native men ain't doing it correct. No. In fact, the few native men who went to Moravia and got rid of the Congo people, the few native men, all of them become millionaires, now they're golfing and growing big. Now they forget about it.
That's too simplistic.
Yeah, but I just trying to be fair, yeah. Fair, yeah. You can tell me say that Yomni Kanga home in Grand Ambassador President Boga went to that multi-million-dollar design home is equivalent to all of the thatch homes you see across Buchanan, across number 1, number 2, number 3. You can compare those. No. The way Mageddon faced the road from RI Highway straight to the houses, go into where they found the drug the few times. They pave it with concrete. You can pass on that one. Yeah, you can pass on that one to go to the home. But when you move on that road, all the other roads, then your car will get stuck in the sand. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we need to take this thing from the politicians and give it to the people. But we friends. We gotta face this thing better.
That will lead into the speech, and that is a little more fast spent. To those who are following and who want to call, the phone line is set. You can do well by calling now so that you can be the first, second, or third to participate. The number has been posted, both Facebook and YouTube live feed that, and you will be able to see it. I'll continue to post it so that you can see it very easily. So we had Dr. Brewer, who was chosen to be the orator for the 179th Independence celebration. And he went completely historical. And he tried to tell us, who we are as a people, looking into the pages of history. He tried to identify us, define us, make us see ourselves in a more historical and profound way as Africans who stood, who fought, who bled, and who had the courage for a statehood, for self-governance. And he said, this is the assets that we must claim. And there's, I think his argument was, this is fundamental. And only if we see this, then maybe every other thing will follow, because maybe we have not seen ourselves yet. Maybe we don't know our self-worth. Maybe we feel that we are not competent, we are not capable. So you went to the pages of history and said, look, this is a competent country. We have competent leadership. We have people doing the worst when resources were limited, when communication was near impossible, who stood and established a state, who were against all odds, the British and all these Spaniards and Portuguese and all trying to get a piece of Liberia. And they stood with little or nothing, and we survived. And, so look at our African brothers, they came here. Let me use the United Party people. We rescued some of them. we rescued some of them. Nelson Mandela had to come here. Oh, they came for rescue. So how now then we are acting as though we are nothing, that we are not capable of self-governance, and all that. And the next friend. So let me stop there. I'm the moderator. Let me keep my independence. But to get us started, Dr. Pearson said something, and that's what will get us started here. Dr. Pearson, you're in trouble. I told you, if you don't answer the question, I will not allow you to go see your wife. So talking about the speech, and we're going to analyze it a little bit. Dr. Pearson wrote, and there was his initial reaction, my opinion of the 179th oration by Dr. Brewer, academically elementary, intellectually informative, politically irrelevant. There where I disagree. So, Dr. Pearson, what made you think that profound speech by Dr. Brewer stands out as politically irrelevant? What kind of politics you're looking for? you're looking for the cocaine, you're looking for yellow machine, you're looking for rescue. The floor is yours.
There is no doubt, and hats off to my friend and brother Tao here. Our history, especially our early history, not the one told by the Westerners. All right, our history before 1847, like Dr. Brewer mentioned, is important. It's very relevant, and all of our kids and our people need to be aware of that history. But in my opinion, and I hope that Mr. Tao will back me up here, that whole idea and that knowledge is elementary. That's something we're supposed to learn in elementary school. Those are to be the initial historical lessons that we learn at the foundation of our education in Liberia, in our education system. By the time our kids finish in 6th grade, going to junior high, they should have absorbed all of that information already to know where they're coming from before they start going to history of other nations. So that's why I said that whole thing is academically elementary. That's what I meant. Okay. Then I said it's intellectually informative. So yeah, for
elementary meaning we're supposed to know it in the elementary school.
Yeah. That's not grade school thing. Look, trust me.
Who part is it?
No. Okay. I'm not faulting anyone here right now. I'm thinking about the speech, right? I'm not faulting anyone right now.
I was understanding you to say what he said was childish. That's how.
No. It is no. I'm very professional about saying that. I said it is elementary, meaning you should have learned that in your early stage in your education when you went to school. And our kids should already know that. They should already know that. Unless Mr. Tao, who is the advocate for history, will tell me say I'm wrong. I put my hands down and I stay in defeat. But our kids should know that Article 6 encourage us to ensure that our kids, Article 6 of the 1986 Constitution, encourage us to educate our population, well educate them to their culture, their history, their tradition, everything that they should know to be a useful citizen. And Tao will say, because you missed out on it, that's why you messed up right now as you are. That's how Tao will say it. We messed up the way we are now because we bypassed the history. So I'm saying to you, that thing you have been taught in grade school from elementary level. Don't bring it to high level conversation at the Independence Day oration. Now I said intellectually informative. Why I said that? Because let's say you missed out on that information, right? Or you got it when you're much younger, you're forgotten it. It is not making some impact in your decision as a leader. So you need some reflection. Yes, it becomes informative for you to reflect and listen to it. But I wouldn't want to be sitting at that important program paying $2,000+ to buy a plane ticket to go to Liberia to celebrate Independence Day. Somebody can lecture me on something I learned at elementary school or I should know from elementary level. You waste my time, you waste my money, waste my time. Then the last thing I said, politically irrelevant. Why did I say that? Liberia is a politically charged environment. Majority of the time, the Independence Day oration is when we can flag something significantly important to our nation that leaders can take cue from, citizens can aspire towards. So when you go to make that oration, yes, I'm not saying don't be reflective, but you need to learn with something that will make the power to see themselves in the mirror and say, look, of the 100 things we could have done differently, this particular one is my emphasis. You can do this better. And then give the population the opportunity to aspire towards, inspire them to aspire towards moving the government in that direction. I think that's where Tao myself said initially, we have to be outcome driven, and then it's buttressed that. What is it we want to achieve in life that we're missing the target, that we want to flag and say, look, I want to call your attention to this. We are missing this target and we want to get this thing done, or else we are behind other nations that are around us here. That's what I want to see. Other than that, it was academically elementary, intellectually informative, yes, but politically irrelevant. Joseph Burger left from there feeling fine. All the UP politicians left from there feeling fine that they have done something big the last 3 years. When we know all is not well, they were politically pacified and massaged in that speech.
All right. You heard Dr. Pearson there with his defense, and he said it was politically irrelevant. We have burning national issues dogging our republic, and the whole nation was listening to Dr. Brewer. And in Dr. Pearson's view, that was an opportunity for him to at least look for one of the consequential issues, dragging our nation, and conscientize the citizens with it, the leadership of our country with it, so that they can look in that direction sincerely, and we start having a national conversation. Maybe it's something that is a monumental policy failure that needed to be brought on the table. Something of national emergency, and that will make the president uncomfortable in a good way, that will make the officials of government to say, yes, I think we are dropping the ball on this one. Let's go for it. And that will benefit the nation. I think that's where Dr. Pearson is coming from. The many step on no toe, and so other you people there say, yeah, my man, maybe we'll do everything good, so that man came to teach a little history. And but let me get to you, Brother Tao, your take,
to just start from where he ended. Maybe the man decided not to step on any toe, because each time anybody point out something, whether political or not, what that is the actual reality of what the country may be facing, people go off. Like the lady that spoke last time that said the United States benefit from us more than we benefit from them. They were about to lynch her all over the place, especially in the diaspora. And so maybe he decided to take a central role to just lecture on some history. But look, I agree with Dr. Pearson on just about everything that he said. But this is one thing that I will say. Remember, those history, they're still necessary. What is necessary for it to be driven and for it to be drilled. Because remember, when our history started in 1822, formally in almost all of our schools, that is where the settlers started it. Because the goal was to erase the African achievement, everything else, just like it happened here. The history of the land started in 1774 or 77. So America and Liberia just parallel in how it was established. It started from Mary Draper and Matilda Newport and Elijah Caldwell. That is where it started. It took some time before who actually have access to those history, not directly even of Liberia. You barely can find an actual Liberian history until Joseph Segwan started to write the Civis book and got Samuel Wynne, Honor Samuel Wynne. That's when I started to learn some of this stuff. And some he had to bring his own pamphlet because there were no books. That is how much we were made to be completely blind so that we don't know who we were before the so-called settlers arrived. So I think it was necessary for him to actually go over that, for him to say it. But I agree with you that after you say that, that should be like the introduction and foundation. Then you move in to, because what is the
throw punches?
Huh?
You want him to throw punches?
Not throw punches, actually point out where the government is failing and where they have achieved and where they are falling short and the expectation that the people have for them, or I mean that the people have of them. A government that is still carrying the same salary structure and the same benefits, a government that it took $22 million that they will fix the road, no car will get stuck. That's why I put the picture behind me. You see that? that's going between a Riverside and Sano. My auntie don't going that then over there in that other car behind me. They were stuck over there for almost 2. They almost actually built their own town there.
Right. And Mr. Tawo, because you said that, and that's the opportunity I see. I want somebody to build like a gas station, TV, so that when people are stuck, they'll come to there. I'll sell water to them. I'll sell, so that's an opportunity.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're not talking about the business aspect on a private level.
I want us to bring in colors even before I come in. Let's get 2 colors.
I mean, a real detector.
Yeah, no, time is fast spent.
You see that Boka picking here? I knew this.
let me bring in. For me, I love the speech. And
you bring in Gonglo?
No, no, not Gonglo. I know Dr. Brewer, right? I've interviewed many times, and what he said today, that's who he is. He and because I've interviewed him, being part of the History Channel, so I heard some familiar lines. Let us not read history backwards. I think a few days ago, I think it was yesterday, Mr. C, if you remember, I said we've been listening to a lot of ignorant people. I even used I almost talk like Trump to say we've been listening to stupid people. Somebody will come from, let's say, Ghana or Nigeria and say, oh, I didn't know a country called Liberia existed. And we'll be clapping for that person. There's this guy who I think was sent around. Oh, they were celebrating. There is Liberia. And that's why I hate any song where they say Liberia. I just turn it off. Because it's like we don't know who we are. We think we should practice from other people. Not knowing, it's almost like Africans who will say, oh, we are Jews. Instead of white people coming from black people, we say, we came from Jews. How? How can we not be the root? And you are saying you are the branch, right?
And the science is there, the anthropology is there to say that all races came from the black.
It's the same thing.
That go to the line,
Nnamdi Azikiwe, Kwame Nkrumah, all these people are coming to Liberia to learn. How then we think we're nobody? And we got to learn from you, and we got to practice all of what they do. And we don't know anything. So if somebody comes and say, oh, I didn't know there was Liberia, this country, and then I saw it, but they are the mother. Where did you go to school? You didn't go to school in Ghana to learn about. The other guy went to Liberia. Oh, he's surprised that Sani Kole is the center of the OAU. There where is that? Why you didn't learn that? And we'll promote those kind of people because we don't like to hear maybe from Dennis Jar talking about everything Dr. Brewer have said. If you go to Liberia History Channel today, you will see a lot of those things. But nobody listen. We are accustomed to listening to ignorant people. But let me bring in some colors here. Let me put my own. We have one. Oh, you've been here for 25 minutes. Oh no, sorry. Let me bring in Mr. Uranti Tobasi. We miss you.
Thank you, Mr. Jab. Well, Mr. Jab, we are nobody. We are nobody. Look at our country. The whole country is driving on the highway. There's no gas station, no service area, no rest area, nowhere to use.
It comes from mentality like that. You know, one pastor told me, say, anytime you wear dirty clothes, you will always sit down in the mud. So when you tell yourself, I'm nobody, you will go sit down in the mud and have no gas station. Go ahead.
You know, we have a lot of problems. And we always want, but anyway, the reason I'm calling is the issue of the ACS. And, for so long, I think we've been living with the illusion we truly got our independence from an organization. I think America was trying to keep her hand clean, so she hid behind the ACS, but she still forgot to instead of not saying the American colonization society, it kept the American in there. So any kind of sensible person will always know that America had a great role to play in this whole thing. You see a lot of government officials, you see a lot of religious leaders, you see slaves owners. Look at our capital city. If we say we are independent, why are we still using Jim Morrow? Kansas City will name it after Jim Morrow instead of calling it Dubois, or some kind of native name so that we can be totally free. You know, and the same thing happened during the Berlin Conference. During the Berlin Conference, America participated. She sat in the conference when they carved up Africa, when they divided Africa. America did not stop the Europeans and said, what you're doing is a violation of human rights. You guys cannot treat the continent like this. America did encourage the Europeans to divide Africa, abuse our people, encourage people like King Leopold. King Leopold, 10 million Africans killed them, cut their hands off for gold. So when you see Africans go to Belgium today and say that, oh, Brussels is pretty, they don't know that they're full part of blood. Everything in Brussels, everything in Belgium comes from Congo, from the belly of Congo. How can you go to Brussels and be happy or the Belgium and celebrate Belgium when you know that the people came to the land and they stole from the belly of Congo to build Belgium? Belgium had nothing, zero. And people are celebrating when they come in Belgium and they see the airport in Belgium and they say, oh, it's so beautiful. But it stole everything from your people. The same thing when Liberia is. There's no way in the world any country will get for independent from an organization. If they are not happy to do. So Liberia was not called, if we say Liberia was colonized, they have to be from America. If we say Liberia, once it's colonized, but it's declared or independent, then we have to rewrite the history in a way that it will show some dignity. It will have a soul of our people, of the country. But their history will be carried on for so many years. It's a national entity. They don't have a soul. We don't feel it. When it's on the national anthem, for all these things, enjoy all that nonsense, we have to be creative and keep these things.
Thank you, Mr. Tomasi.
So I can represent true independence. I agree with Mr. Tao, and thank you very much.
Thank you. So let me learn my thought now. For long, all the things that have divided us over the years, those are the things that Dr. Brew, I believe he addressed, right? For instance, we believe, like what Mr. Tao was saying, you know, the Congo people came and they created an apartheid system, and Liberia where nobody were just in the forest, jumping from tree to tree.
That is not what I said.
Brought us salvation.
That is not what I said.
Left out other people, they didn't carry when they were dividing the Doga flag, they didn't give Doga flag to the other people. No, we were big boys and big girls that were sovereign African. We didn't need anything from them. So Dr. Bro clarified that. Also, sometimes we think that, oh, we had our names and the Congo people came and changed the names. But no, that's not true, because King Long Peter and all these people, their names existed over 200 years before the settlers came. That's why some people did a fake history, say, oh, this person, his name was Zulu Duma. They changed it to this. This other person's name was it. No, we have been using those English names many, many years before the arrival of, before 1822, let me say. So I believe that Dr. Bro, knowing who he is, he doesn't throw punches. He has always been optimistic about Liberia. I remember when I interviewed about the flags, I kind of tried to criticize the country flags. He said, give the people some grace. So that's who he, but I think he is trying to situate the country that the fundamental issue we're dealing with is that we have not really been able to know ourselves and the kind of strength we have. And that's why we keep crying. You know, Dr. Pearson was this guy who was the prodigal son, big brother, right? He sat there, according to their laws, he had all this, everything his father got half for him. But he didn't know he was crying for goat. Oh, by all this time, you don't give me small goat said. That's why Librarians, that's what we are. And that's the issue that Dr. Brewer dealt with. Lots of the division, a lot of the things that keep us divided, because tribe, nobody came to that place speaking Creole or speaking Bassa. Everything we have was formed there. All the ethnic group we have today, yes, some form, but the actual thing we have today evolved, it developed. we should be proud of ourselves. So we shouldn't be hating each other. I was surprised we are more together than we think we are divided. All this thing about all division, we're all playing fun in that country until they walk in and politicians use that and say, oh, that person is crown, that person is Madingo, that person is, Mano, all that stuff. So I think Dr. Bro's speech did that. We've been throwing the punches, from Dr. Pele to Dr. Brewer. What changed? Dr. Pele threw all the punches. What happened? So I think this different approach, is part of our growth.
All right. Yep. Tao?
Yeah, because I didn't finish the man, that young dictator on here. But look, yeah, but look, we need to throw punches. When we need the stage like Liberia, we need disruption. When we need disruption at every level, if you are fighting corruption and corruption is 10, you got to throw punches until corruption fall. If you're dealing with bad governance, you need to throw punches until it fall. So anybody that is not ready to throw punches now, they should not take those particular calls. They should not take it up. They should.
If somebody who think corporal punishment always the answer.
No, it's not corporal punishment.
You have your time. Give a young man time.
Yeah, Dennis. What we are saying here is that, what we are saying here is that we need people that we need to engage. You see, look, I come on this show, people think that I'm so, no. We need disruption in order for us to have a reset at every level in Liberia. I'm not going to go as an orator, sit over there with these guys, try and they took all that money, maybe $1 million, who know, because they've been there for a whole week, or maybe $2 million that they're wasting, and I come there, eat with them, and then I go ahead and give some stuff and then leave out how badly the country is running and where it is. Look, and people are listening, so I want for them to clarify something, because Dennis Jar, I disagree with him with all my 7 senses. He just said here that I said that the people who were in the bush, they were jumping from tree to tree. I'm way too informed.
No, I didn't quote you on that.
Yeah. You said that. I never said that.
I'm not quoting you.
Yeah. I never said that. But look, Liberia is in a critical moment. The post-World War II world has pretty much come to an end. It is going through its final stages, where the new world order and the new power blocks, the multipolar world, is being born as we speak. Every African country that were weak under the pressure of the US-led Western bloc are making a move. They're all refusing not to export their raw resources. They're not pushing and building factories to add values. Liberia is the only one that is still sitting there, not even thinking that direction. When this system was supposed to be pressuring ArcelorMittal, so that we can say, look, we need to do a 30-60. 30% of the iron ore need to be refined here, so we can produce some steel for domestic market and from others, and you can ship the other one or go to the other person. We're not even thinking that direction. Almost all the countries across Africa now, they're all moving in that direction, because there's multi-poles now. So everybody, if somebody said they don't want to deal with you, you go to the other person. So everybody making concession. All the so-called international blocks are not making concession. Liberia is the only one. These are the things that we're supposed to be discussing on Liberia 179 or independent, to see these are some of the things that are supposed to be in there, where we move in that direction, and we there trying to make government officials feel good. They're already feeling good. They have too many young girls that in Grand Bazaar that they already spend 1 week with.
Thank you, Brother Tao. And then I know I'm moderating you.
Yes.
I agree with you as an advocate for the futures of this country, dedicating my entire life to accountability journalism, understanding that it will serve all of us better. I couldn't agree with you more. We have to be throwing punches. Most of our leaders are way too comfortable. When there's so much the comfort that swallow the entire country. Look at the truck behind you, stock.
Yep.
People are in a very, very huge discomfort right now. All right. And that's why I like the idea about the government bringing the yellow machines, because if they operationalize those yellow machine with proper management, train young Liberians who will know how to use those machines to greater the road, to haul debt and fill those muddy areas on the road, then we're trying to think something better. Tao said another thing. Why are we giving all our raw mineral resources out? I want an orator who comes and say, you know what? It's been over 100 years we've been giving, Firestone been taking every drop of litter out of this country. Every drop for over 100 years. I want to see a Liberian leader who pulls a foot down and say, look, between this year and that year, not a drop will leave this country. It must be turned to finished good before it leaves the country. And if it means that this country will be, the republic will be buried, let it be buried. That's what I want to see, because that is what gave us a paradigm shift. It is not somebody coming to lecture us about our history. In as much as I'm a big fan of history, I enjoy the history. I mean, I listen to it more than anyone who that. I saw the senator of Bond County falling asleep when Dr. Bro was speaking. The man was literally falling asleep. A senator.
You caught by Yuko.
I mean, maybe Tahoe is right that he was in that place way before time on Sangana Miamian over there. He didn't get some good sleep. This is a national event. You are a senator representing a county. Dr. Brewer is there giving you historical record to conscientize your understanding of the country you represent, and you're falling asleep. I saw kids in that place that they were not falling asleep. A senator was falling asleep. So, I mean, as much as I hail Dr. Brewer for the profound history he taught us today, something he has dedicated to his life, I am of the opinion, having taught that history from the beginning, he should have made our leaders to get out of their comfort zones. So many Liberians are hurting. Children are in rehabilitation centers. I cannot rehabilitate any of them. Senator Dillon runs one of the rehabilitation centers. Our Liberian government penny is not in it, and yet they declare drought as a national emergency in our country. Dennis, tell me, what is wrong with Dr. Brewer saying that? So, if we continue to intellectualize the suffering of our people,
he said all of that, Mr. C.A., just that you didn't hear it.
He said it in language that you understand.
Yeah.
I understand it because I understand, I agree with you. That is the foundation. But you know how United Party people understand it? The people who are leading our country? That the men didn't talk about anything else because all is well. So they left with that same level of comfort they went with. And they were dedicated, they are showing their yellow machine, they started their campaign. Nothing wrong with them. They are political actors. I don't fault them for that. The day I become a politician, I will be genius and robustly, a kind of politician that no one will defeat. I don't fault them for the game. But put your people first. Hey, the government doing some good things. I can list about maybe 50 of them right now, but that is not my job to list their accomplishment for them. My job as a journalist, as an advocate for the future of this country, is to make them to see the bigger picture. That these little things, in as much as they are important, given how far we are behind, given that we have been the giant of Africa and we are lagging behind, we can't even provide stable electricity in our capital city. I'm talking about the whole country. Lights barely stay on in Moravia for 24 hours. Barely. As though that is not any disgraceful discomfort for ourselves. And we're teaching history. And forgetting about the things that are keeping our girls, children, in schools that are not befitting of their future. Then we show schools here. You provided leadership. We're going across the country and showing schools that don't load their schools. We should talk about those things because those things will determine where the history is ever, where the histories will be taught. Or else the history will even have meaning.
Exactly.
Well, Dr. Brewer said every generation confronts its own challenges.
Mm-hmm.
What are the challenges that the Baka government has identified? You want Dr. Brewer to listen for them and that they are confronting?
Dr. Brewer had a national platform to look our leaders in the eyes, not only tell them about our profound history, but to tell them about the what's the word? The existential threat that faces this republic right now, for which we have drugs, for which our schools are crumbling, for which we are getting just 1% of our children coming out of high school and can comprehend with critical thinking. I know that Brewer wants that. But if he can't tell the leaders that, if he can't give us the blame, I'm a crew man. The palm butter, pepper there, meat there. The clary and myself from the same side. We global people and crew for our palm butter. The pepper can be inside. The fish can be there. We can put case meat there. All that makes there. That's what makes us strong. That's why I wanted for Dr. Brewer to do. I'm not saying he didn't do an excellent job. The delivery was perfect. You know, the man above man, you know a thing. Well,
30 seconds. 30 seconds, sir. 30 seconds.
Yes, please.
Look, I can understand the pain that is juking the superintendent waiting for Sando on this subject, but what I can say here is that people don't realize it. When I hear the expression national orator, right, it reminds me of the importance of rhetoric, of speeches, right? So you notice that way back when people went to war, the general, whoever ahead of the army, would stand before them and give them this big speech that's supposed to mobilize them and galvanize them to approach the crisis ahead of them to win it, not just to confront it, but to win it. Even if you were afraid to get in the battle, when the guy got through talking, you forgot about everything else and went into the battle. And then you think about that, and you think about great speeches that people make in the world today in very difficult times, like Mahatma Gandhi, words that never left some of us to now. Some people made some speeches that I would be quoting for the next 50 years until we grasp it. They will never stop quoting them, right? And those were revolutionary expressions that will cause a shift in the nation. Now, you cannot go to a national oration once in a blue moon, single citizen is given a chance to speak to the nation and its people, to galvanize them around an issue. And then it's like you wasted water on dog's back. And people that Joseph Brock are comfortable going to sleep tonight, immediately going to the Yombri Hall to go swallow Dumba. Right?
So it's a matter of strategy. You have a different strategy than Dr. Brewer.
Yeah, so right now I'm not looking at the strategy, I'm looking at the message, right? So for me, like Tao said, if you even came with history, it should be a structural speech where the history is provided, it has a place for reflection. Then you gotta speak to the now. Why they say that the country is what's something significant the country is faced with now? And how can you galvanize us or provoke us to move to solving that challenge for tomorrow, so that we can leave from that? Look, man. I think Dr. Pele's speech is the best in the entire Burka administration ever. And let me just put the cat on the bag because it provoked us to think critically.
How is for now, right? Because maybe I might be the one choosing the next one, and you will get fired.
Okay. But no, for me, Dr. Pele's is the best. And you know what? Dr. Pele's is the best. Dr. Pele's speech would have emancipated us from that dependency syndrome and gravitate us towards, standing up for ourselves.
But it didn't. Why?
Because we are cowards. You don't have good leaders in the country. Dennis,
for me, it did for me. One speech did right here. You don't have a law,
right?
That's LORD. You don't have a law because we're betting that America is our law. We have to pray to America. When America not bless us, then we don't exist as a country.
The guys are leading us.
We get everything from America. That has been the mentality. And she said, no, they have been getting more from us. And you need to know the fact.
And look, and that's why I support Mr. Tao on this one right now. Look, Dr. Peter's speech was the best. Dr. Peter's speech was to tell us, look, move from behind, book us MOUs. Move from behind, running behind, you say money not going and crying about it. Move from behind.
Dr. Bro is not going to do the ANC
move
job.
from behind the MCC compound that you're crying about. Cut all the waste in the government. Manage your resources properly. Invest the nation's money in the proper direction. Move your country independently. Move it forward. If you cannot take care of yourself, nobody respects you outside there. It's as true for the family in the home as it is true for you in the neighborhood. It's as true for you in the society. So that's the whole thing. The speech was academically, elementary, intellectually informative, politically irrelevant. It was just another massage.
Let's hear from our last caller.
All right. Am I on? Am I loud?
Yeah, you are live. Your name and where you calling from? Dr. Pierce is hearing you.
Oh, okay. So this is Calabo Banglo. I just want to make a quick contribution and probably ask a question. And maybe disclose something that many people don't know. For me, as a young person growing up, I came from a very tiny village. I was just imbued with that sense of fighting for everything that I need to get as a Liberian. So when I was in St. Mary's, I never celebrated Flag Day. Every single time I had to cut grass. I said, I don't see the need to salute the flag of Liberia because I don't think this country is serving me, is fighting for me, my interests. I never attended Independence Day celebration. I always feel that we don't have leaders. We have a country that has let me down as a child. So that belief is still continuing with me today. Even when I work in government as assistant minister, I never attended any Independence Day celebration. Because we are in a country where our leaders are a bunch of liars. They are not truthful to us. If we are going to be a nation that will live up to its truest meaning, then we must fight to ensure that the country delivers to us what we give back to the country. We're giving our rights to own the mineral resources. We're giving our rights to make law. We're giving our rights to do everything to a few elected people who use those rights to enrich themselves and protect the future of their family. Now, I just returned from Liberia today. I listened to Ansolin talking about maybe 50 good things. But I got news for Ansolin. I can list 200 bad things that will make you not to love Liberia too. Okay? So like Ansolin wrote a few months ago, a country did well. We don't push our leaders for accidents. They are moving some needles here and there. But let's take, for example, the yellow machine. The yellow machine, I'm sorry, it's a bad policy. I will tell you, and I will tell you the reason. The government under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Joseph Boyka, he saw road construction was privatized. The Ministry of Public Works role was to be monitoring quality of the road construction and giving road construction contracts. And you saw the Ministry of Public Works became like a cash cow, where ministers there were making millions and millions of dollars, and some of them then some of them are progressive, they are former progressive. Okay? That's how they were doing it. So many Liberian businesses, Liberian citizens, of course, most of the country want to Lebanese people. They went and bought machines to build road. I know one person like Kopo Toman from Nimba. He went into road construction. He's a civil engineer or electrical engineer. He bought this machine and started a road construction company. Now, if you bring machines to do road, what becomes of this Liberian war is the opposition? They are giving it to Kante to do it. A country cannot subcontract a contractor. Are you going to give government purchase machine to the contractors to use it? So, no, this is a grandiose corruption scheme of making, and people don't see it. Because you know what? And that's exactly what they're going to be doing. They will give So now let's even watch, and so you are an activist. Let's watch with a yellow machine now. Be Polo Works budget on a watch. Whether Polo will give road construction, lateral road construction contracts now to any Liberia or any company to do it. Because we're doing now. Lateral road construction. Now you brought a machine, this Liberian is supposed to go out of business. And that's job creation, small business job creation. That's what was happening in the private sector. That is what actually it's a bad policy. If you want to bring something for road maintenance, you bring small, minimum and position in each of the country. But not to do on a larger scale that they did. They are pushing Liberia out of business. It's a bad policy. Now, one thing I just want to point out to you, you guys have done your show long. I can list 200 things that are wrong with Liberia that nobody will need to celebrate Independence Day for.
Thank you, Mr. Gonglo. Even the government has put other Liberians out of business with press, because every ministry, every agency is operating their own press now. So we can't even send our report. We can't even do anything now. But I don't agree with Gonglo, because I don't think there are 200 things. But the actual the yellow machine thing, we'll have a separate show, Mr. C. That's all the colors we have.
All right, Dennis, thank you. Look, Kolobo, he's a great mind, and I will leave it right there. And I don't know whether he's thinking that he can be as critical as I can be, or even more than me when it comes to governance. Well, we'll talk that another day. When it comes to governance, my friend don't stand there with my mind can't stand there with my mind in politics, because I'll be the first to step on her toe when it comes to the future of our country. So anyway, gentlemen, thank you. Very great discussion. We will close the broadcast now. Brother Tao, let's get your closing and parting statement, given all that we discussed. 1 minute, please.
Yes, thanks. This was a great discussion, and this is what I want to say. Liberia was colonized. Whether you want to define in any way, it was colonized. That is why when you sit here, we speak English. That is why our history started with 1821 or 1822. That is why Christianity was pushed more than anything else. That is why with our names were changed. Whether there was something about imas, because that is the only way you get reward. It was a reward punishment kind of a skill that was used. If you show up and you had a certain name, then you could access certain resources. If the colonization, you can't say whether it was in stages, that later on there was negotiation, there was this. But at the end of the day, we're looking at the outcome. What was the overall outcome? After the entire area called Liberia came under the government, 94% of the public were excluded. It was not till 1962 that Africans were allowed to vote. The same mirror that of the US. So we need to admit those things so that we can move on. The struggle that we are having, and no country function without culture. We don't have our own culture. It is culture. Everybody go back to recapture that culture. It is our duty to rediscover our African identity. So that then, based on this, we can redevelop and engineer ourselves. This is the only thing that can actually help us to have a national goal. But we don't have one. We think we are everything else. We are Chinese, we are Arab, we are US, Westerners, and then the very great Westerners. So this is what we are struggling with until these things can be dealt with from this level, and for us to actually then decolonize the educational system and everything else, and then build it back up. We're going to continue to struggle with this. We're going to try to make sense of it, and it's not going to work.
There's no doubt that, there's always colonial mentality or the slave mentality that exists in Liberia and other parts of Africa, even here in the United States, where Liberians we are, some of us still have this colonial mindset. We still think other people, because of their skin color or how they speak, they're superior. And so that's why people. So there's no doubt these things exist. But to say that Liberia was colonized, or even if Liberia was colonized, and then since that we have gotten our independence, what are we doing now? Liberia colonized, or between the colonial period and 1847 when we gained independence, and America did not recognize us for all that length of time because they were angry. Who are these guys? These slaves, our slaves. They want to tell us their country is equal to us. So all that have passed. What are we doing now? I've seen a lot of people, President Tabo was a great president, and we continue to say, oh, Tabo, Tabo, Tabo. Since Tabo died or was killed, 1980 till now, we almost going to 50 years now. Is there the same song we're going to be singing? As per Dr. Brewer, every generation, you have your own new challenges. Sometimes we blame, oh, the progressive did this to us. Tipotry is old, Formula is old. They had their time. They confronted their challenges. What are we facing today and what are we doing with it? That's the challenge for all of us. And I want to conclude here, in my Jefferson Koji voice, it's time to dispel rumor, mist, and disinformation about our country and nip in the bud so that we Liberians will start to appreciate ourselves and that you will listen to us, those of us who know, little more and have devoted our time to it. Listen to us. Start listening to ignorant people, because if we do not, if we continue to be ignorant, we will continue to have that mindset that we are nobody, and so we'll always go and sit in the mud. Happy Independence Days, and don't forget my Independence Day oration. You look out for it. 16 pages long, and then you can come back to the project.
Yeah, and I should say in closing, listen, we shouldn't be having National Independence Day history lesson. Please put it in the curriculum. Teach our children from the day they started elementary school. Teach them the history of the country. If we're going to cite the history in our national oration, it should be a foundation just for reflection. And then you come to the substance of what you want to communicate in terms of a major national challenge and how we can change it so that leaders can find the path forward for whatever major challenge, like Dr. Brewer said today, every generation faces a challenge. So what was the challenge? You should have established one major one and govern us towards it and inspire us towards solving that one. Other than that, then take the history to the grade school and get some books in the classroom, improve University of Liberia history department, and build libraries across the country, let children go to school and learn the history. Don't bring it on National Oration Day as a lesson for us to learn for 2 hours in a program, wasting public money. And another thing I would say, we've already laid a foundation to decentralize the entire Independence Day celebration. Now we have the Ministry of Local Government. Look, let every county have its own program celebrating Independence Day, so every Liberian can feel a part of that celebration. And whatever we're celebrating should be something that we are able to rally around in our constituents across the 15 counties and identify progress we've made as a nation, moving our counties forward. Generally, President can speak as to what we're doing, moving the nation forward as a collective unit. Last but not the least, next time anybody give us the opportunity to do a national oration, please, we expect more. To expect anything less would not be fair to our country. Thank you for having me tonight, Anthony.
Thank you, gentlemen. You did justice to the discussion. You share reflectively, analytically, and also very soberly about their country, Liberia. Leadership is a serious business. Statehood is not for fun. If we get it right, then it will be good for all of us. Focus on Liberia. Our reimagined website link is being displayed there. If you appreciate what we do here, we want you to always go on our website and follow the news as it happens. News articles are there. We are doing analysis. We are writing opinions, literature there, world news, everything there. Go there, and then on our website, you will see a place where you can download our app. Only for Android people. If you have an Android phone, you can go and focus on Liberia. At the top there, you will see Get App, or at the bottom, you will see Download. Download it on your phone every time you have a free chance, and go there so you can know what's going on in Liberia. We have played our part. It is now your time to play your part. We have to tell our story. Mr. Webman will not tell your story. If you give him the opportunity to tell it, he will tell it in a way that it will not look good for you. So the platform is here. We need all of us to make everything successful. I end with this. There is never a perfect start, just as the nation Liberia. Just as when you started as a child trying to walk, you will fall. And then you, at the end, will perfect how to walk. Even at that, when you're getting old, you start to wobble on your legs again. So is life. Think about that. And then also think about this song that says, we are all Liberians. Happy Independence. One more. Focus on Liberia is here. Like, share, comment, contribute, do everything you can. Let us make Liberia the Liberia we want. It is our challenge, in as much as we have our lives. Let us play our part. Joseph Jikin Rabo play a part. According to the orator, if Joseph Jikin Rabo comes by, he will be wowed that the country still exists. Because the challenges he faced that time, he was afraid that maybe that country was going to be taken away from us. But I want to see a better Liberia handed to the people coming after me, and I hope our leaders are taking in that direction. But when they are dancing kakaleka and playing football with their big belly in Grand Bassa, I don't know, but maybe that celebration, I leave it there. They will come for me. All right. Enjoy the song. I say we are all Liberians.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people.